It is another night. It is another Suns victory. Welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. And welcome to the podcast, Matthew. How are you doing this evening, my man?
Good. That's how you draw it up, right, John? That's exactly how the Suns play. You know, just the last 5 minutes, just figure it out and hope to God, cross your fingers, they miss some shots. So
the X's and O's, when you put them on the board and you're trying to figure out what needs to be figured out in the last 5 minutes, the Suns figured it out. It's kind of interesting how over the past 2 weeks, it's been almost the same narrative over and over again with the Phoenix Suns. They build up a big lead. They kind of piss it away a little bit in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, all of a sudden, it's nearly tied. And then the last 3 to 4 minutes, they ultimately are the team that comes out victorious and win the game.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything else, right? And especially you got a great game from Devin Booker, who scored 35 points 2 nights ago, but then was actually questioned last game. Can he be a leader? Can he be a clutch guy for the Suns? He's pretty clutch with that layup to really seal the deal tonight, right?
Well, and I know that I'm one of the ones who was questioning him because I was started to get, when I start looking at those advanced statistics and I see that for clutch time moments, Devin Booker shooting 27.9% on the year. I was just like, I've become one of those Devin doubters. And then what does he do? He comes out tonight against the Chicago Bulls and simply goes, listen here, Voida, host guy from the Suns Jam Session podcast. STFU, bro. And that's exactly what he did tonight. He just told me to shut the fuck up. And he reminded us all that he is Devin Armani Booker and he can score when he wants to. And, you got to give it to the Bulls. They were trying everything to stop Devin Booker and slow him down. They couldn't do it tonight.
No, they couldn't. And those jerseys look, I love the Bulls jerseys.
I do.
Number
so
40,
simple and
45
so clean.
is just whoever the hell that was on the team. The best looking jersey ever. I just love it so much. You know who looks good in a Bulls jersey? Probably Mikal Bridges.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, it would though. That 2 and that 5 would look pretty nice. Like
he would look.
Old
he looks
Steve
like a
Kerr.
He looks
Steve
like
Kerr
a bull. He looks like Scottie Pippen, right? That's
totally. He's our Scottie Pippen. Mm-hmm. So don't you say that about Mikal. I know he was absent tonight. We barely saw him. Don't you say how good he would look in a Bulls jersey. But they are clean jerseys. So past trade deadline trade. Somehow, some way, Matthew's going to make it happen. Well, welcome everybody who's joining us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and welcome to the Suns Jam Session podcast. Before we get started, as per usual, we're going to remind everybody to go ahead and follow the show at Suns Jam on Instagram, Twitter, and the Phoenix Fans app. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Void, and you can follow Matthew on Twitter
at Matthew Lissy.
Make sure if you're listening on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network that you subscribe, rate, and review. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give us one of those 5-star reviews and leave us one of the reviews. Say whatever you want. Talk about Matthew's affinity for trading people after the trade deadline when it makes absolutely no sense, simply because they would look good in the jersey of the opposing team. Go ahead, leave us a comment on that. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and please hit the thumbs up button. It helps with algorithms and it lets other Suns fans know where they need to come after Suns games, which is right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. So, and that being said, it's time to get into everything that went down tonight against the Chicago Bulls. I've got the last one, truly scrumptious. A truly mango scrumptious. Oh, what's that, Matthew? That's not water. For those listening,
no,
Matthew
it's not water.
Matthew normally has like a 5-gallon liter of water to get through a podcast, and now he's got some.
Too.
Got a pink
I have
drink
that right here for backup, just in case it gets a little nasty over here.
What is that?
My pink drink in the dark, just chilling. It's a vodka with a little bit of cranberry, a little bit of cran. All right,
cran.
No haters out there. Right? I just want a little bit of flavor
tonight
and some water in it.
Respect.
Cheers.
It's a Wednesday night, dude. It's a Wednesday night. All right, cheers if you got them. Let's do this, Suns fans. On the second night of a back-to-back, your Phoenix Suns are now 2-0 in consecutive games back at home, and they defeat the Chicago Bulls by a score of 121-116, a 5-point victory for the Phoenix Suns. Great feeling to have them, go through 2 crummy teams and win 2 games. But you know what? when you're the Phoenix Suns and you're looking to get dubs, that's the way you do it. And, half the Bulls were out in this game, it felt like, Matthew. And, how do you feel about the Suns continually catching teams on nights when they just don't have their full lineups? Because it's happened more times than not, it seems like, this season, right?
Yeah, it has. And I was actually talking to my friend earlier today. I do have a friend other than
You have
John,
a friend other than
other than John. I have
How dare you?
Friend. Yeah, I was talking to him and I was like, it kind of sucks. I'd like to see the Suns play a full team for once, but every time they play the Suns, the team's like, no, we're going to sit these guys. But I mean, it's for real reasons. I don't feel like a lot of these teams are sitting anybody because they're going up against the Suns. And he brought up, yeah, we're the second best team in the league. Why would anybody rest anybody? So I was like, okay, that's fine. But I like to see them play a full roster for once. I kind of want to see them go against the best that they have, because when it comes in these situations where it's 5 minutes left and we're always up by 2 points or 4 points, I want to see the Suns play against the best guys on the roster. And it hasn't really happened up late, because I know when we went over the second half of the season schedule, you were talking about it's going to get tough. A lot of these games early on in the season, we were kind of lucked out, and it seems like we had the same trend going, right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bubble 2.0. It seems like every time we have to play somebody, a key guy is out, or they're resting some people. And again, I'm not complaining, because the Suns are winning. And they're beating these teams when they should. I mean, if we were sitting here tonight and the Suns had lost to the Bulls, knowing that Zach LaVine is out, knowing that Kobe White is out, knowing that all their starters essentially, I think, 3/5 of their rotation was out tonight.
Yeah.
It would have been a much different story for the Phoenix Suns and for Suns fans. We'd get a lot of that WTF. Like, what the actual F is going on if we're losing to these teams when they're coming at us with a not full roster? But you're supposed to beat teams that aren't full, and the Suns are doing so, and they're feasting. As you mentioned, though, as we continue along this path of this season and this journey that's going to ultimately put us in the playoffs, it would be nice if we played some teams that were at full strength, because it truly gives you a test on how and who you are. I mean, think about the Lakers games. I'm happy that they beat the Lakers twice already this season. And when it comes down to a tiebreaker, potentially, which it might not, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot, 26, 25 games left in the season.
Yeah.
And if it comes down to a tiebreaker, the Suns own that tiebreaker over the Lakers because they've won two of their three meetings. In one meeting, they didn't have Anthony Davis. In the second meeting, they didn't have Anthony Davis or LeBron James. So, again, you don't truly know who you are and aren't battle tested. Now, that being said, we played the Bulls tonight, a team that is not destined for greatness. They're a team that is trying to figure out, trying to make the playoffs ultimately. I mean, they're 10th right now in the Eastern Conference. They're now 19-27 after this evening's affair with the Phoenix Suns. So they're not a team that you need to get battle tested by. But again, just as the game began, and I heard that both of the, Kobe White and Zach LaVine were out, I was just like, oh, it'd be nice to play against those guys, because we mentioned on last night's podcast, like, I like watching Zach LaVine play, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I literally said those same exact words. I want to watch Zach LaVine play. He's not really a winning player yet, but he's fun to watch. So I want to see him on the other team. Plus, when the Suns are playing these teams, you have to think they don't get as up for them, right? I mean, they feel like they can walk through. As much as we want to say game planning, hustle, all that, blah, 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 it's not really there in their mind to play their best ball. That's true. I think Booker every night is really trying, but there's other players on the team, of course. Yeah, and we could talk about Ayton maybe being that guy, but it's always going to be something in their minds. Like, you know what, this is not the best team. They come out on the court for jump ball. It's like, who am I looking at? So it does get in their mind a little bit. It's kind of like going to work, and like the hot girl called out for the day. It's like, what's the point of being at work, or the hot guy, whatever you guys are into? What's the point of being at work if you don't have that sexual tension? That's true. You're not going to work as hard.
It's a great analogy. It's funny.
Yeah.
I get it. But no, you're right. I mean, you're not as engaged, if you will, in your work when you know that you're going there and you're not going to be allowed to put your best foot forward or provide your best performance because the hot girl or hot guy is not there to watch you do it, I guess. I mean, that's Matthew's point. But I get what you're saying. I'm going to completely pivot right now.
Yeah. And
I'm looking at some of the chat. Yes. And again, shout out to all the Jamsters who are joining us. But the Boogie Trend says Andre Drummond got hurt. And then Idle Cut says, out of topic, but Drummond got hurt in his Lakers debut. Matthew, do you know any more about that? Or
yeah, actually, I just looked it up too. It looks like he's having an X-ray on a toe contusion. So X-rays taken and
toe contusion.
Came back negative. So he'll be back. So I mean, if you want to talk about him actually being a factor on the Lakers, who knows? Because you won't really know till LeBron at 80 gets back. So I don't know. Until then, the Lakers are going to keep losing, and that's all I care about. But actually, they probably don't even care about losing right now. They just want to be in the playoffs, and they can do what they do.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a long journey until we hit those playoffs, and it'll be interesting to see what their seed is, considering they are going to continue to lose. I'm sorry, but again, Andre Drummond hurt. I mean, karma. That's what you get, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess
totally
karma
kidding.
for what?
I don't know. Not joining the Suns when I didn't want him to. Apparently. So let's go ahead and start talking about the game. Obviously, the first thing that I noticed in this game against the Chicago Bulls tonight was the new Bally presentation. It is no longer Fox Sports Arizona. It is now Bally Sports Arizona. What are your thoughts on the new Bally graphics and intro and everything Bally? Rally of the Bally Valley.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really watch pregame. So did they get rid of the new intro? Did they have a new intro song? Thank God, because I have hated that Fox Sports intro song for forever. Do you like that song?
I didn't love it.
I mean, it's not like you listen to it on your Spotify, but I can't stand it. I never have. That's why I was like, just bring back UPN 45 basketball, the Suns, the best intros, everything about it, the AutoZone commercials, everything was just perfect. Just bring back that in between timeouts. But Bally, I don't know. I didn't really hear their intro song or anything yet, but I like the presentation. On the bottom, you had the scores. So that was kind of cool. I don't think they had it for Fox Sports, where you can see the scores of the other games, the other things going on. So that was kind of cool.
I think they had it a little bit. They kind of had like a once every now and then they'd have a scroller on the bottom kind of thing. Now, I don't know if they did, though, now that you mention it.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I don't know why.
I don't know how much I liked it. As Thomas Dennett says in the chat, Bally, makers of pinball machines and casinos. I love staying at Bally's. Bally Sportsbook in Vegas is the best sportsbook to go to.
Do I have to?
Yes. Oh, we'll go. When Ashley's 21st birthday, I already told Shannon, I'm like, listen, Matthew and I are going to be at the sportsbook at Bally's the whole time. Like, I'm not going to go hang out with you. With you bitches.
With my nieces
in Vegas? Well, your niece, because Emma's not old enough yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think that the presentation, it's something I have to get used to, obviously. And, nobody likes anything that's new. So I can understand that. But it's still like, it felt like the music is gone. That Fox Sports that you don't like is gone. And now they have it sounds like two Transformers fucking. Like that's what it kind of sounded like. It sounded.
I didn't hear something like that. So is that the song? I didn't know what that was.
That's the song. And I don't know how much of a fan of that I was.
That laugh crept up on me.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how much of a fan I was of that, but let's see here if I can go ahead and pull this up right here. This is UPN. This is what you're talking about, right?
This one, yeah. And then they had the ball that's on fire. Yeah. Well, we can't hear the music, but
you can't hear it?
No, I can't hear the music.
Oh, Jamsters, I'm sorry. I'm playing it, but
but that's the intro that I loved. It was the best. Everything about that just makes me so happy right now.
Yeah, that was great. I don't know how much I like it, the new one. The presentation, I'm still learning to like it. I don't like, and this is from a design standpoint, the way that we read is left to right, up to down. So all the most important information you need to put on a page or anything, you always put in the lower right-hand corner, and the score's in the lower left-hand corner. So your eyes naturally have to learn to look there because you're used to looking kind of in the lower right-hand corner. That's why when you watch games that have the box versus the banner, it'll be in the lower right-hand corner or the upper left-hand corner because that's how we read naturally. So having the score kind of down in that area, I just wasn't a fan of that. Took a little getting used to. Clearly, we've gone on a tangent. It has nothing to do with the game, but I do think that it's it's a new era. It's a new. We are the Bally in the Valley now, and so be it. But take that drink, right? Take that drink, homie. Take that drink. The first thing, obviously, that happened early in this game that was kind of that oh shit, aha moment was when CP3 had his hand injury. And I was actually kind of surprised that it took the announcers about, 7, 8, 9, 10 possessions to really go, oh, hey, he's hurt. I noticed it
Yeah.
right away. He went to go block Vucevic. CP3 hits his hand on him during a block. It's a foul. He's shaking his hand for like nonstop for like the next 2 or 3 possessions. What went through your mind when you saw that happen?
It's scary. I feel like we've had these times, these certain times in games where CP3 looks like he's getting hurt. It's almost like when Booker goes down to the ground, you almost pray. Like I pray every time nothing happens because he always gets hurt when he goes to the rim, right? So when CP3 does that, it is very scary. I mean, sometimes he doesn't have good games. That's fine, but he is the MVP of this team. So if he goes down, who knows what's going to happen to this team? That's what we cannot lose. I mean, if he were to go down, we would be like the Lakers. We'd be losing games. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think maybe Booker and Ayton, they can pick up a few games without him. But if anything ever happened, I mean, it would be super scary. So yeah, I mean, it's something that I definitely, my cheeks got red. I had the hives. It just makes me feel bad.
You got the hives? Wow. I mean, put some ointment on that and you'll be better. But I think that it's something that obviously all Suns fans, you kind of get a lump in your throat and you get a little bit worried because that is what makes this team go. And we've been blessed because CP3, I believe, has only missed 1 game and it was kind of, a hamstring injury. It was a rest game on a back-to-back. So when that injury happened and then shortly thereafter, Cameron Payne and Javon Carter were playing, you're like, okay, how serious is this? I hope it's not a broken finger or something like that, especially on his shooting hand. But obviously, CP3 comes back in the game and has himself a pretty decent night. Yes. He had 2 points in the first half. He ended with 19, and he had 14 total assists. So 19 and 14 for the point god this evening against the Chicago Bulls. And, he did open the door for Javon Carter to get some minutes early, and he played a little bit late too. What were your thoughts on C4 coming in, getting that playing time, and why do you think it was C4 instead of Galloway in this game?
I think Galloway, he's definitely had a lot of minutes in the past few games, right? Galloway's playing a lot of minutes. So I think that what Monty's trying to see is what he has in Carter. It's been how many games since he's played? 4 or 5? Yep. It's been a while. So to get these guys back in the lineup to see what they have still, see what they can do. I think we know what C4 can do. But I think you can see how he's not nervous when he comes back in, but he is absolutely kind of not in the right place at the right time in the beginning. So he needs to get kind of his feet underneath him. I think these minutes just kind of help that in the future. It's kind of like, what do we have in C4 going forward? We know what we have in Galloway. He's very, very consistent. It's just he's had so many minutes and we've been very, very happy about that. But also, I think there's a lot of C4 fans out there too. When he's out on the court, I'm never upset. Of course, I have liked him since the beginning of the year last year, but he, of course, is just a guy that I think needs to get consistent minutes, maybe every other game. Put him in 4 or 5 minutes. That's fine. I think that's all he needs, just in case he's needed in crunch time. If someone goes down, something like that were to happen, he can have kind of a reason. If he's in the game, like he'll know exactly what to do from the beginning, because you can kind of see it's not nervous. He's just not really there yet, right? When he comes back in, he kind of has to feel himself for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's got consistent minutes, and he had 13 total minutes this night, 0 for 1 for the field, 0 points, 2 defensive rebounds, 1 assist, and just pesky on defense. And I think that's what, again, as we navigate this part of the schedule, Monty Williams is going to throw some of these weird rotations out there as he just tries to keep guys engaged and guys consistent. Langston Galloway's had the lion's share of the minutes from the 2 guard position recently. So it's like, what? It's a back-to-back. Let's get Langston some rest. Let's get Javon Carter out there, and let's just allow him to get his footing and get him some game time, because the guy does work so hard, especially on the defensive end. And I think it was also just a kind of way to have the Phoenix Suns try to disrupt the rhythm of the Chicago Bulls, because early their offense and the Phoenix Suns offense, both were just unbelievably on fire. You look at the first half, the Suns shot 60% from the field. The Chicago Bulls shot 44% from the field, 33 from downtown. The Suns 55 for downtown. So, I mean, the Suns really went off in that first half, scoring 67 points. But in the first quarter, I mean, there were 76 total points scored. It was 39-37 after one freaking quarter. So I think part of that is Monty Williams saying, hey, Javon Carter, go in there and just try to disrupt them a little bit,
Yeah, and I mean, Javon Carter, he only had like the 1 assist, but that was something the Suns really focused on, I feel like, in the first quarter, was moving the ball around. They did a good job. They had 12 assists total in the first quarter, which was great to see. I mean, that's something I feel like we expect now from them, but they had an all-around game from a lot of players on the court. Campaign, he came in, had 7 points, so that was great. But the Bulls, of course, from like the first 4 or 5 possessions, I was like, this is going to be a tough game inside, right? They were playing big. You mentioned it
Oh,
before the
yeah.
pod, and it's just like it was going to be a bummer for the Suns underneath because they had to play a lot of team defense and team rebounding, and it just wasn't really there for them. Usually, DA tonight just didn't do very well on the boards, but he needed help, and there was just no help. I mean, Cam Johnson. He's of course learning to be a big guy, right? He's trying to be more physical. He cannot get a rebound if like his life counted on it. Sometimes, like he had a few big ones towards the end of the game, which were great, but the balls go right past him. Like he can't get the rebound when it's much needed. And a lot of second chance points for the Bulls. That's really what kept them in the first and the second quarter.
Well, this is a game where the Bulls just completely and utterly dominated the boards. The final numbers, the Bulls had 50 rebounds to the Phoenix Suns 32. So out rebounded them by 18. You look at the offensive boards, 18 rebounds offensively for the Chicago Bulls. The Suns had 4. The highest rebounder on the team for the Suns was, let's see here, was it Dario Saric, I think? I mean,
well, one time it was Campaign.
It was Dario with 5. I mean,
okay.
And Campaign had 4, Bridges had 2, Crowder had 3, Ayton had 4, Booker had 4, Paul had 3. I mean, so it was a team rebounding effort. But I mean, that was the strategy tonight for the Chicago Bulls. They decided, listen, a lot of our guys are out, so we're just going to try to go big. And I mean, look at Thomas Satoransky was their shortest guy out there to start the game, and he's 6'7". I mean, so you knew they were going to out rebound you. You knew that you were going to have to play a different kind of basketball necessarily than you're used to because they were going to get second chance opportunities, and that's ultimately, like you mentioned, kept them in the game because the Suns shot 56% from the field in this game. They shot 44% from downtown. And they win the game by a total of 5 points because of those reasons.
Yeah, and does it make you think of, the old Suns, the running gun Suns, where they just could not grab a defensive rebound to save
Oh my
their
God,
lives?
that was the bane of my existence during the 7 seconds or less era. Was me at bars watching the Suns just going, grab the fucking rebound, because we can never rebound the goddamn ball.
That was everybody. So it makes me think of that because in the beginning of the season, we actually talked about on the pod how we don't even have to complain about that because we were such a good rebounding team. Now we're playing against bigger teams and we don't really have that other guy to help Ayton out as much. Team rebounding can go as far as it can. You have Crowder in there. Campaign actually I think he's a decent rebounder. Just other guys that help out that are smaller, but they have to really, really try, really, really focus, put a lot of energy into it, and then get the offense going at the other end. So it takes a lot out of them. So, I mean, I hope this thing's stirred up. I mean, we don't have anybody yet that we can sign a buyout guy that can help us down low. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it just makes me think, like, is this going to be a big issue? I know the Suns just won, but it is something we've always talked about, right? And I just don't want it to be something in the playoffs where it's like, oh my God, we cannot get the defensive rebound. And that's something I didn't think I would have to think about this year.
Yeah, but you look at kind of the reasoning behind it, I feel, in this game, and it's because the Chicago Bulls started a team that does 2 things. 1, had size, and 2, likes to shoot deep, long balls. Whether they're long jumpers or 3-pointers, they're a team that just doesn't really attack the interior necessarily. So you get a lot of those long rebounds. And they go right over, like Cam Johnson. Every time he crashes for a rebound, it goes flying over his head. And then what happens? They end up scoring in the paint because we're out of position on those secondary possessions that they garner due to those offensive rebounds. And you look at points in the paint, they outscored the Suns 56-44. So, yeah, it's something that we're going to have to take a look at. You look at total rebounds in the NBA, and the Phoenix Suns are currently, let's pull up that stat. Where are you at, Suns? 19th in the NBA in rebounding. And when you get to the playoffs, those are going to be big. You got to have the ability to rebound. And I think we have some really good guys who can grab the boards. Torrey Craig didn't really have a good night because, again, it was just you're not going to play a lot of teams in the playoffs that are going to start teams as big as the Bulls did tonight.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Torrey Craig because Markkanen actually was going off early, and then Craig came in, and I feel like he did a pretty solid job.
He neutralized him.
Right? He really did, and like anytime Markkanen would actually try to get away from him, he would pop right back up. He was right back in front of him. So Craig, if he defensive guy that we knew we were getting, that's what he is. So everything offensively we were getting in the past 4 or 5 games is just a real bonus. And he's not that guy to put the ball in his hand like, all right, do something. He's not an ISO guy. He's not a guy to run a pick and roll with anybody or get to the rim. Really, he can against slower guys, but it's nothing that you have to rely on. You know, it's like Saric from the top of the key can't do too much, but if he's in the right position, he could take advantage. That is exactly what Torrey Craig is. So even if he has an off game tonight, his defense was really superb. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, 0 points for Torrey Craig, and we're sitting here being like, good game for Torrey Craig, But you're right. He did his best to neutralize Lauri Markkanen, somebody who is definitely an offensive guy, not a defensive guy. And he ended with 16 points and 10 rebounds, did Markkanen, but it was 5 for 13 shooting. So again, that team defense, when you look at the box score for the Phoenix Suns and you see that Torrey Craig had 0 points and Mikal Bridges only had 6 on 3 of 8 shooting, you go, okay, they didn't have great games. But then you look defensively and you go, you know what? They did their best to neutralize those threats and force tough shots. Again, what killed us essentially was our interior and a guy who I think is definitely worthy of receiving the
Jack Taylor Award for the guy who comes out of nowhere and scores a shit ton of points on you.
And the guy who gets that award tonight is Denzel Valentine, number 45, the guy who's got the balls to wear Michael Jordan's secondary number when he played for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
I mean, he went off tonight, and you're neutralizing the Markkanen threat. Nikola Vucevic didn't do really much. I mean, he ended with 24 and 10, but it didn't feel like it was an effective 24 and 10. In fact, he shot 8 of 18 from the field, so 18 shots, 24 points. Efficient, but not crazy efficiency for him. But then you have Denzel Valentine join the party coming off the bench, has 19 points, 3 of 9 from 3, and it felt like he was like 10 for 5 or 10 for 11,
No, I know, and he actually shared the ball too with 4 assists. So it's like this guy out there, he's 6'4", 6'5", whatever, but he seems like he's bigger. I don't know why. He seems like he's a bigger player out there on the court. He was feeling it. And in a lot of these games that the Suns are playing, against like these teams that only have their backups in because of injury and all that, we're always going to have these guys that come out, even if they haven't scored more than 2 points in the last 5 or 6 games, come out and just chuck it up there and it's going to go in. And that's what a lot of it, for some reason, it happens, dude. So Suns fans, we have to live with that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what we did in our past life to deserve this, but it's something that we really just have to deal with, because I'm always looking at these guys. I'm like, yeah, nice number. And then they go off. So it's mostly my fault. I almost bought his jersey online.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. Well, don't you have a TJ Warren jersey? Just do the Saric treatment. You have right behind you. You have a Dario Saric jersey that's actually a Josh Jackson jersey. Oh no! I thought you were talking about. For some reason, I thought you were talking Torrey Craig. I'm such an idiot.
No, I was talking about Valentine.
Yeah, you're talking about Valentine. I actually have a Michael Jordan 45 jersey around. I think it's at my mom's house, but I still have it. Yeah. Here's what I think though. When it comes to, why do I have Jamstar of the game up? I'm such an idiot. It's the Jack Taylor Award we're talking about. Sorry, Jamsters.
There was a lot of confusion going on. So.
Yeah. So the Jack Taylor Award though, think about how many people play against the Phoenix Suns and could dish out the Jack Taylor Award because our bench is so potent.
Yes.
If you're somebody on the other team and you're like, Dario Saric got 16 on us tonight, he scored 20 last night, like what the heck? Cam Payne had 9 points, but those were really big points that he scored during that stretch, and when CP3 was getting his finger looked at and the way that he ran that offense with 4 rebounds and 4 assists, there's a lot. We literally are a team full of Jack Taylors who our bench comes out of nowhere and just can go ape shit on you one night, and this is a night where it was clearly Devin Booker and the starters who held the ground with 16 points from Dario Saric. But we see these Denzel Valentines. We see these guys who are just like, God, is this the Suns' luck that some guy comes off the bench and scores 19? Yet we do it ourselves to people all the time. So
yeah, we do. And even if you played Saric back-to-back nights for the opposing team, the second night, if he would have scored 20 points, he'd be like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's just, he is that guy. He's like an honorable mention still for 6th man of the year. I mean, I know he's had that bad stretch, but who does have a bad stretch? He is back, dude. He's killing it. And I'm telling you, like that 2-man game with him and Chris Paul like trusts him so much on the court.
He really does.
Whatever he like. The little, I mean, sometimes Chris Paul might get carried away with the little behind the back throws. He had one bad one tonight, but he does that where it's the screen, then Saric pops. So that's something that Ayton doesn't really do, right? He always just goes to the basket no matter what, or he'll just stand there. But Saric will pop and then he can shoot the 3. He's been lights out from 3, but he just trusts him and Saric together. Really fun to watch. They've they look like they played with each other for like 3 or 4 years. Like they just are so comfortable, even though Saric is a bench player. So it's very strange to see.
Well, that's a testament to the fact that both are wily veterans. Both know how to play the game of basketball and have been in different situations in which they've learned how to play and use angles and use technical. I was thinking about today. I'm like, Dario Saric can sometimes remind me of like a really, really super poor, like not even Walmart, like whatever's below Walmart's version of Tim Duncan, because he's just so technically sound. It doesn't look pretty, just like Tim Duncan never did, but the ball somehow, some way goes into the hoop. And, I see that Suns Dog 24 in the chest says Saric watch, guys. We definitely going to have to make some sort of drop for him. Obviously, we're not going to, give him the Saric watch, but I mean, it's got to be something like, him smoking a cigarette. We'll do something, but that's
like a butt drop or something.
Yeah, the cigarette butt.
Whatever they call that when the girls like drop on their, what is that? I don't even know what we're talking about. What are we talking
From the
about?
window to the wall? Like
no, like when they drop down, their butt almost touches the ground, but it doesn't, and they can hold. Never mind.
I love this. There's somebody in the chat who just keeps saying Suns suck. You know what?
He or she
That's
is
awesome.
Totally right.
Yes, we're correct. You're correct. We've won 0 championships. Yada yada yada. Whatever you got to do to come and make yourself feel better after the Suns win to let us know that we suck. Fantastic. Yeah, we do. We're not any good. So, but again, Dario Saric, a fantastic game. Again, it's nice to see him come in back-to-back games. In 2 games, he scored a total of 36 points and really did a good job of assisting the Suns get this dub over the Chicago Bulls. Devin Booker, real quick, fantastic night, 45 points. And I know we're going to break this down and talk about this, but I asked the question on Twitter, can we stop with the Booker 2-for-1 long bombs at the end of quarters, man? Can we just retire that already?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I don't think he really hit a lot. Maybe he hit 2 this year, right? But it's funny you bring that up because I was watching the Celtics and the Mavericks before this game, and I swear Doncic just does that all game long. He shoots those all the time, and he is so terrible from that distance. It's almost very, very frustrating if I was a Mavericks fan to watch that constantly. I'm just like, there's no reason for it. I mean, Booker, if he has the energy, get to the rim, dude. You're so much better in that area. Just like in the third quarter when he went off tonight, it was 6 from 7, and all of them were in underneath the 3-point line. Like it was all in the paint, all right there in his area. That's where he is. And I mean, if he makes it, then we're like, God damn, Booker is great. If he swishes it, just like when Doncic does, like, God damn, Doncic's great freaking basket. But it rarely happens. It's a waste of basket, I think. Just take a good shot. Don't even do the 2-for-1. I've always been a 2-for-1 guy, but
it's the way you take the 2-for-1 though. Exactly, you don't need to throw up a 40-footer just to get 2-for-1. You need to have the ability to run some sense of an offensive set in a timely fashion to ensure that you get a good shot and you get the last shot as well. And I think that, again, he's made 1 or 2, so therefore it's it's something that people like. But I'm not one of the fans of it. And I just want to give a shout out real quick. Let's see. Walter Lazo in the chat. He blocked the guy who was trolling in the chat. Walter, you the real MVP. And Johnny Go, I think you nailed it, man. Dario, call it the smoke break.
The smoke break.
That's perfect, man. That is perfect.
The back of a Circle K with Dario behind it with a cig.
Yes. And oh my God. Yeah, Johnny Go. We're going to give you a shout out on Twitter for that. That is fantastic. Sleeping bag. I love it.
Rolled out.
I just love it. Dario Saric is the guy whenever you go to Circle K, he's on the side of Circle K, just having a parliament and just kind of, be like, hey, man, can you give me another pack of ciggies? I love it. Absolutely love it. So
we'll do it.
Do it. So, but again, I think we can retire the 2-for-1 for Booker's from half court. But again, what a fantastic game for Devin Booker. 45 points on 24 total shots. He went 17 for 24, 9 for 10 from the free throw line, 2 for 5 from deep. So, we've talked about that, Matthew. I'm okay when Devin Booker shoots like 3 to 5 3-pointers. We know that he doesn't have the ability to hit a ton of threes, so he shouldn't take a ton of threes. And I think even last night he ended up, I think he was 2 for 7 or 2 for 8, 3 or 2 for 5. That's right in his wheelhouse. He had 4 rebounds, 4 assists. The 5 turnovers is kind of what happens when Booker's usage rate is that high. But what did you see from Devin Armani Booker, the guy who scored 45 just to tell Denzel Valentine, I'm going to score your jersey number, bro?
Oh yeah, that's perfect, right? I like how that worked out, dude. I
Yes,
love the number
sir.
45, man. But when he hit 36 in the third quarter, I was like, 36. I honestly did not know. It was so efficient and smooth for Booker. I didn't even know he had 21 attempts going into the fourth quarter.
Hmm.
Like that was insane to me. I didn't even think he actually had that many attempts. So for Booker, it's just that's natural for him. I think that for Booker, you want him to like get to the rim, get under the 3-point line, and just hit those little jumpers. That's what he did tonight. And that's what I love to see. And it's you said it perfectly, like 3 to 5 3-point attempts, nothing more necessary unless you're tired, unless it's a back to back. Maybe try to get the 3 going, but it hasn't been going. So do what you did tonight. I mean, we don't want you to score 45 points always. I mean, he had 35 points or 32 points the other night, 2 nights ago. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he can put up those numbers easily. That's why tonight I was so surprised. I'm like, he's sitting at 36 points in the third quarter. I'm like, was I on the phone for the first quarter not paying attention? What was going on?
No, I mean, he had 13 points in the first quarter, and again, did so in that smooth Devin Booker. It's very easy and efficient fashion. And I love the fact that he tuned in last night, listened to the Suns Jam Session podcast, and took the advice of one Matthew Lissy. He's like, listen, I need to stop shooting the threes. I need to start working on that mid-range game. And that's where I'm most effective. And guess what? That's what he ended up doing in the game. And it made him a more efficient scorer. And he ends with 45, his most points this year. I think he had 43 against the Minnesota Timberwolves earlier this season. So, kudos to Big Dick Book tonight, coming out and slanging it all over the court, man.
Slap it down.
Slap it down, Big Dick Book. Well played, sir. I think we've got we're 36 minutes into the podcast. I think it's about time that we make the drop that everyone came here for.
Ayton Watch 2021.
Oh, yeah, it's Ayton Watch time. It's not the smoke break. It's Ayton Watch time. Matthew, what did you see from Deandre Ayton tonight? A night when you knew that he was going to have a tough one. 1 going against Vucevic and 2 going against a team that was just really big.
Oh, man. I don't know. I thought DA played really good defense against Vucevic. There was one thing I noticed, though, that he was doing. He got called for a foul when he was trying to box out Vucevic. It was like basically on the 3-point line where he was trying to deny him the ball. And he got called for a foul, and then he did it again, but he got the turnover that time. I was like, oh, hell yeah, DA. But then he went to the bench, and Monty Williams pulled him aside. They were talking before he went to the bench, and he was saying something, and it looked like it was kind of like, hey, don't do that because we're not looking for you to foul out. So just play him ball up. You can guard him if he grabs the ball. Just make it a difficult shot. Like, we don't want you to get 2 stupid fouls in a row. Because I thought the second one was exactly like the first one, but they didn't call it.
Yep.
So it's like you didn't
and there was
want
a turnover on that play.
Exactly, yeah. But then it could have been a foul, I felt like. So we couldn't afford to lose DA tonight. Offensively, nothing was there. He had his opportunity in the third quarter. He really had an opportunity to really extend this lead for the Suns in the third quarter. He dropped the ball a lot. He did. There was a few passes. He just literally dropped the ball. And I think Mikal Bridges had that really fun thing where he went to the paint and tried to handle the ball off the DA, and he just lost it. So he had his opportunity, but we're talking about feeding him last podcast, and he really had the opportunity in the third quarter to really extend the lead, do what we were talking about to where he can be that guy to help the Suns when no one else is really scoring, just to extend that lead. And that opportunity was there, and it was just lost by him in the third quarter. But the defense was really good tonight by him.
Yes, sir. And especially in the last 5 minutes. I mean, that's where DA flexed his muscles, really deterred some shots at the rim and made his impact. But outside of that, as Suns Dog says in the chat, Ayton, nothing memorable tonight.
No.
And I agree with that. He didn't really have his offensive game going. He was getting doubled a lot. I think that because the Chicago Bulls were built tonight to protect the paint, anytime you try to do anything with DA, the guys were just there. It was kind of like a 1987 NBA game where everybody was down the paint for the Chicago Bulls. So it was really kind of a hard game for him to navigate. The final stat line, again, nothing special for DA. He ended with a total of 10 points, only 4 rebounds. So 10-4, copy that. But again, he had 2 blocks and some really good shot deterrence at the end of the game. And it's funny because right before the game started, we actually put out a video on our YouTube page. So if you're listening on the Bright Side of the Sun podcast network, head over to our YouTube page. And we actually take a few plays recently from Deandre Ayton in the fourth quarter and how the Suns haven't been looking for him. And we analyze kind of some opportunities that the Suns could have because you want to develop DA. You want to give him an opportunity in the fourth quarter to get more touches. His usage rate is something that's plummeted or I would say plummeted, but has definitely, or it falls off in the fourth quarter. It's something I tweeted out today where we're talking about how, in the first quarter, he's got a 21.6% usage rate and averages 4.5 points, 17.9 for Q2, 18.2 for Q3. And then his lowest usage rate is in that fourth quarter, 17.5%. And, again, that's the design of this offense. If you look at the other centers in the league and how their usage rate is, and overall his usage rate is, I believe it's 17 or 18%, 18.3%, I think, overall as a center. All the other centers in the league, he's number 13 in the league to any up against any center who started over 25 games. And you look at the other names on the list, and it's like Embiid and Jokic and Vucevic is up there. And it's all these guys who the center is the number one option on offense for those guys. Deandre Ayton isn't our number one option. And I think that one thing that we talked about in our video podcast that we put on our YouTube page is we essentially said, there's opportunity for the Suns to maybe feature him a little bit more and try to get him more touches in an effort to build his confidence, knowing that come playoff time, he's going to need to have some of that confidence that he can score when he needs to in the final 5 minutes of a game.
Yeah, and he just wasn't having it tonight. He didn't really the effort wasn't really there. I know we were talking about good defense. There was good defense when he was on Vucevic, but the rebounding and all of that, he just was not as interested. You can tell he had one really good rebound.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was not very memorable. So
yeah, the best way to put it. And, I'll give some of that to the matchup, but again, you like to see him try to fight a little bit harder, and I just didn't see the fight in him tonight. And I think a lot of Suns fans saw the same. What are your thoughts on Patrick Williams? He's the rookie for the Chicago Bulls. He's somebody we did plenty of draft prep last year, knowing that the Suns, picked, I believe, or what were we, number 10, 11, 12? I don't even remember.
Yeah, he went number 4, right?
Yeah, he went really. He went really high. He went early. Let's just go there. He went early. And I know that, you and I were big fans of Devin Vassell from Florida State that the San Antonio Spurs ultimately drafted. Yeah. And we really did a lot of research. We thought he'd be a great fit for the Suns if they chose to go with the wing position. But in doing so and researching Devin Vassell, Patrick Williams, I think, is somebody we both fell in love with. How did you think he played tonight? And do you think that, kind of what do you think his future is in the NBA? Because he's somebody I enjoyed watching him play tonight. Yeah,
he just does a lot, right? He's very athletic, just very fun to watch. He's not really anything yet, if that makes any sense. He's just so young and so raw right now to where the Bulls, they're trying to put this team together. He's like a perfect guy to go along Levine and Vucevic, if Vucevic even stays there. I mean, he's already 30 years old. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But he's a great guy for the timeline in a way where he's green. He's not like Josh Jackson, where that Josh Jackson was very green and you thought his athleticism would carry him. That's not the case with him. This is a guy where it might carry him, and you could tell he's a real competitor. He's a guy out there that's actually going to play every possession like it's his last. So you want to see that in a young guy. So he's very promising. I mean, he's not going to be a rookie of the year candidate, but I do like I just from body language, just watching him, I think he's going to be great. Maybe not an all-star, who knows, but I think he's a fun player to watch.
He's definitely somebody you need to have on your team when the team does get good. The Bulls have a way to go. But when they are good and they're clicking, he's going to be a big part of that. I don't think he's going to be your number 2 scoring option, but he's definitely somebody who could be a number 3 scoring option. They have him listed as a power forward, and he's 6'7". I don't know if that's going to last, but I think his game is more of a 3 overall. The thing that I feel bad for him is he was number 9 all season until Vucevic showed up. So now he's number 44 because Vuce came and is like, yo, I want number 9, bro. So I feel bad for him. But I really think that he's somebody who the Bulls got a good draft pick there. And it'll be interesting to see how his game develops. He could obviously do a little bit more on the defensive end, but did still play some pretty good defense tonight.
Yeah, he did. And that whole number thing must suck. But 44 actually looks good.
Yes.
It maybe doesn't fit him, but number 9 was a good number for him. And I'm glad you brought that up because it looked like a number he should wear. It's like a slender number, still kind of thick, but it fit his body well, if that makes any sense. I'm glad I went into that.
This is what you get on the Suns Jam Session podcast. You get exactly how uniform numbers look on players and what Matthew thinks of them. Obviously, number 44, Paul Westphal for the Phoenix Suns, one of the greatest ones to ever wear it. So, maybe it was a nod to him.
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jamsters, this is your reminder to go ahead, subscribe, rate, and review if you're listening on the Bright Side of the Sun Podcast Network. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and subscribe as well. And let your friends know. Let your friends know what the best podcast to watch after a game is. Let's
go grab some lunch.
Know.
Talk about the Suns jam. I was actually at Safeway today, and I was walking with my friend to grab a coffee. And
you hang out with this friend a lot, Matthew.
It's a different friend. I actually have two friends, but one has to be my friend because he works with me. So I'm like, let's go get a coffee.
So coworker.
I bully him around. Yeah. But anyway, we're walking next to a guy at a Suns hat, and he was like, I wonder if he's a jamster. I'm like, oh, I never think about that. I wonder if he watches the pod and he's a jamster. I don't know.
That's what your friend said?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And somebody said it earlier. Somebody said it earlier in the chat. They said, Matthew, they want to buy your hat.
Yeah, you know what? I really love this hat, dude. I've never seen anything like it since.
Is that the one you got at Chandler Mall?
It is, yeah.
What store? That wasn't in Lids, was it?
It was Lids. No, it was Hat Club.
It was Hat Club? Yeah. Yep. I got mine, which nobody has said, yo, Voida, I want that one.
They have. It's just we got someone else new in here, I think, that just saw the hat, so.
Oh, gotcha. Well, this one I got I got it online. It's like
everyone compliments you all the time, John.
No one ever compliments me. I'm such a narcissist. But it is that time for the Jam Star of the Game. Looking at the chat, kudos to everybody who's in there. Let's see here. We've got Jay Pizzle gives it to Book. Walter Lazo says Jam Star, Booker, no doubt. Somebody said earlier, Chris Paul for helping up that ref. Good call there. Wait, like 3 minutes left in the game. He helps him up, and maybe we got a couple calls from that. Code gives it to Saric. Khalid says first Booker, second CP3, and in third place Dario. So he's giving us a win place show on that. Khalid wants to buy my hat now. So you're right there. Now I feel better about myself. CP3 Jam Star for helping the ref in the fourth quarter. Yeah, Nathaniel Darius. Booker Easley for Mario Lopez. Matthew, you're getting it. So you are the real MVP. Super Dario for Ricky Marotti. Book and DA from Humble Rumble. And you have Book and Kendall sitting in a tree from Thomas Dennett. So it's always
school, right?
It's always great seeing
they probably
all of
do sit in a tree, man. That seems like something they would do.
Yeah, when they go up to Sedona on their long rides, it's probably like, yo, this is a good opportunity to go sit in a tree. So who is your Jam Star of the Game, Matthew?
Oh man, it has to be Booker. I feel like so many times we do this award and we don't give him like the proper recognition that he needs, but tonight he earned it because he was just so consistent on his shot. Of course, efficiency was very high. That's something that Book kind of lost in the last few games, right? Where he wasn't as efficient, and I use that word so many times with DA, but that in Book has always been an efficient scorer. Tonight it was back. He made the smart plays, and what I love from him, he finished the third quarter, done a great job from shooting the ball. And he still passed it up, got the hockey assist to like really end the third quarter. So it's like instead of looking for that ugly shot to end the third, he passed it around, got Cam Johnson a 3-pointer. That was really a good spot for Book to be in because I was like, oh, I thought he was just going to shoot the ball because he's so hot right now in the third quarter, but he didn't. He doesn't lose track of getting his teammates involved. That's the difference between this year's Book and 2 years ago Book. He's going to play team ball, and that's why he's Jam Star of the Game tonight. Yeah,
I mean, he was just so unbelievably and utterly efficient in this game. Like you said, it was so easy for him. You didn't realize what was happening. Those are the funnest games when he just comes in, hits the mid-range, doesn't do too much whining, doesn't shoot a bunch of threes. It gets to the rim, gets a couple calls, and just pours it in. And 45 points and a victory is something that in the past we didn't necessarily see. It was always 45 and an L. So 45 and a dub. Give it up to your Jam Star of the Game, and that is one Mr. Devin Armani Booker on the last day of March. Wow, April starts tomorrow.
April Fool's tomorrow.
Man. Oh man, I'm gonna have to deal with that at work.
Guess what?
All right, so guess what? We asked some questions prior to this game on our last podcast. The first one was over under 27 points for Vucevic. I think we both said under, correct?
Yes, we did.
We were both correct. He scored a total of 24 points. We said who's going to win, the Suns or the Bulls? We both said Suns. So that puts me at 19-12. Which is 1912. That is Arizona State year, right? Yeah, November 14th or February 14th, 1912. Matthew's 22-9, so I still can't catch some Jamsters. I'm trying, but you know what? He keeps picking the Suns to win, and you know what? The Suns keep winning. What are they in their last 32? I think they're like 26-6, dude.
It's insane. It's insane. It's like, it's so funny to look at those losses we would get so upset about early on. It's like, and all the winning in between.
Yeah, I mean, this team was 8-8. They're now 33-14. If math serves me correctly, that's 25-6. I think that's what that is.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, what an unbelievable run. What a fun time to be a Suns fan right now. And we're going to, up next, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday night, Matthew. The first question I have relative to this game, can you name a player from the Thunder starting lineup?
Oh, I spelled from wrong.
This is what happens when I let Matthew type the things in. Can you name a player from the Thunder starting lineup in tonight's game?
I can't, because all my favorite players are out and injured, dude. This whole half of the team is gone. They're not even there. So I try to actually look at their starting lineup, and I still can't make out what their names say.
It's gonna be interesting when we play them. I mean, they're a team that's 19-27, very similar record than the Chicago Bulls. They're a team, they have 34 picks in the next 7 years. Like, their whole game plan is to have all picks. Like, I think they're like, listen, no other team can get better if we literally draft everybody.
Yeah, but they're also, it's like, do they tank or not? I like how they still played hard, dude. They're just such a well-managed team, well-coached team where they play hard every game. They just beat the Raptors tonight with this random squad.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of what the Suns used to do. It's like they would sit everybody, everyone's injured, but then the Oklahoma City Thunder come out and they still whoop ass. So it's just, you can't contain them, man. You don't know what to expect with this team.
No, for real. Let's see. Here's their starting lineup tonight. Kenrich Williams, I have no idea who that is. Isaiah Roby, heard the name, no idea who he is. Moses Brown, Svi Mikhalachachach. Wow, Svi. The guy's first name is Svi, S-V-I, and Josh and Theo Malden. They have Josh Hall, Justin Jackson, I know, Tony Bradley, I know, and Darius Miller, I don't know who that is. Ty Jerome's still on the team. He did not play tonight.
I am shocked. Yeah, they're all
shit. I don't know any of these guys, dude.
No Poku either. Their draft pick.
No Poku. No Dort. Is Dort still there?
He is actually, he is, but he's out. He actually is out. What does he have? He day-to-day concussion. Al Horford out because he's at home. He doesn't want to play anymore. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's out. So it's like, and they're still winning. They can still beat anybody.
It's like Code says in the chat. They had 7 guys in double figures tonight. 10, 17, 20, 22, 11, 12, 11. They're a team that looks like they're going to be, Code says they're skilled prospects. So it's one of those teams you can't sleep on. As Sundog says, it smells like a trap to me, John. Pick the Thunder to gain a game on Matt. Mac, what do you call those things? Not trap games, but
not trap game. It's a I even forgot. I forgot it, man. I should have copyrighted it.
Yeah, you really should have. It was like a sleep game. I don't know. Man, this is man, that's gonna be a crazy game. Who you got in this game, man?
I love it when it gets to this point in the pod where John, you just start thinking like, I don't know.
Well, look at Khalid says, Matt, I'll pay you $20 on PayPal if you choose the OKC Thunder for the game on Friday. Everyone's rooting for me to at least try to catch you, man. I love that.
You're just talking about no compliments. Everyone wants you to beat me in the race.
They just want me to catch you. They see me every night having to struggle with, should I pick the Thunder here simply because I want a game on Matthew? Because Matthew's probably going to pick the Suns like a prick.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Suns, dude. I don't like money, so I'm not a big fan of money. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Suns, man. I can't pick a team that I don't know one of the players in the starting 5. Yeah. Kudos to the Oklahoma City Thunder for continuing to surprise people, to defy expectations. They did the same thing last year when Chris Paul went there. They thought it was a dead team in the water. Chris Paul was going there. They were essentially bringing on the Chris Paul contract in an effort to try to trade it and get assets. And next thing you know, they started winning. They went to, I believe, Game 7 against who did they play in the play? It was the Rockets last year. They went to Game 7 against the Rockets in the playoffs last year. Yeah, they were a team that had no business being there. What's her name? Sarah Dewberry is the person who covers them for their what's the name of their SB Nation site? It's something weird.
It's always weird.
Welcome to Loud City.
Yeah.
That's a WLC. And whenever we talk to her, and we've had her on the pod a couple times because we've talked about playing the Oklahoma City Thunder and in the bubble. And then we talked about when we got Chris Paul, what to expect. And she's always awesome, great high energy chick. But she's just, in the same thing. She's like the expectation of this team is the seller, and they continue to win. So, kudos on them. Don't sleep on this team going into the next game, right?
Yeah, it might be a setup game. You never know.
A setup game. There you go.
That's what it is.
Those damn setup games, so. All right. Well, on that note, on that setup game, I think we're both saying the Suns are going to win.
Yes,
and if they lose, I could have had an opportunity to gain on him. I'll just sit.
You gonna lose sleep over this one?
I'm just gonna sit around and go.
You have the hardest time. It's so funny to watch you.
I hate losing.
Wobble in your chair.
I hate losing. I just start spinning in my chair and be like, "Come on, Matthew." It's like, "Come on."
What up, fellas?
What up, fellas? I think on that note, fellas, this is the second podcast in 2 nights, and we also did a video in between on the YouTube channel. So I think it's time to call it. I think we're at that point, right?
Wow.
5 minutes early. Well, we'll figure it out. Yep. Take the rest of the night off, So on that note, thank you again to everybody who decided to spend some time with us after this Suns victory over the Chicago Bulls. We're now 33-14, the number 2 team still in the Western Conference. The Suns are playing fantastic. Interesting type of basketball. We're not blowing teams out like we were earlier in the season, but we're winning the games, and that's what matters. And you know what? Kudos to all the Jamsters in the chat for staying positive, outside of talking about DeAndre Ayton, of course. And tune into brightside.of-the-sun.com tomorrow. I have a piece coming out on DeAndre Ayton, and I pretty much just I type everything I said here.
Yeah, it's just a rerun, but yeah, it's gonna be a great read, and you can watch our podcast too as well, which very fun to watch.
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Jamsters. If you're watching along live on YouTube, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and go ahead and subscribe. I'm expecting to have some thumbs down buttons because we did get some trolls in here tonight, but you know what? If you got trolls coming to your podcast, then it means you're doing something right. So we appreciate all of you trolls out there.
Well,
if you're listening, go ahead.
The thumbs down thing. I was watching a Joe Rogan clip of this guy talking about his sister that got killed. So people gave him thumbs down on that. So you're gonna get thumbs down on everything. It's like, who gives thumbs down on that? You made me
sad.
Yeah, that's upsetting. So it's gonna happen, but I don't bother. It doesn't bother me.
Oh wow. Well, that's why we need everybody to go ahead and throw the thumbs up. And good night to Code. He's over there in Patterson, New Jersey. I didn't realize you were on the East Coast, brother. Thanks for always tuning into the podcast, man.
Say hi to Flex.
That's awesome. Yeah, say what up to Flex from Jersey. But again, on that note, everyone take care. Subscribe, rate, review, do all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. Follow Matthew on Twitter.
Yeah, Matthew Lissy.
And follow the show on Twitter at Suns Jam. I'm done talking. I'm tired.
All right, everyone go home and love your family.
Peace.